Have you ever wondered what your favorite MMORPG says about you and to other gamers in general? Well, my friend, don't worry, because today we're going to talk about multiple online role-playing games from World of Warcraft to Guild Wars 2 and many others, to talk about the stereotypes and burdens being a fan of these MMOs bring to us, their players. So sit back, enjoy, and let's dive in with number 1. Elder Scrolls Online. When you were a kid, you grew up playing Morrowind, and you hated the fact that it took 1,000 hits to kill a crab at low level. So when Oblivion came out, and you could do spellcrafting to create a nuclear bomb that could one-shot everything in Cyrodiil, you fell in love. But then came Skyrim, the greatest game ever made in your opinion, which you probably still download mods for to this day, only to play the game for 3 seconds before you quit again for another month. You're an Elder Scrolls fan through and through, even to the point that you were willing to try Elder Scrolls Online, even though it was not a single-player offline RPG. You're just someone who wants to have fun in an Elder Scrollsy world, maybe to the point that you possibly have a problem. ESO players are known for being genuinely into scalies, which is absolutely terrifying. They believe that going to prison in real life is actually just a means to start an RPG experience instead of a punishment, and they usually are the people you meet working in Renaissance fairs across the United States. They don't need their MMO to be the biggest or the best, because all they truly care about, guys, what unites them as a community, are mud crabs. And new ESO expansions that revolve around killing mud crabs, because holy crap, it took forever to kill mud crabs back in the day in Morrowind in the beginning. Damn. Number 2, Guild Wars 2. People still play this game, believe it or not, although many people don't realize it. Guild Wars 2 has a very active community with new expansions coming out for the game every so often that includes amazing features, like dragon riding, which World of Warcraft definitely didn't steal the idea from, by the way. No. Guild Wars 2 players will not be reminding us of this fact until the end of time. It's not going to happen. Nuh-uh. Pretty much everything and every idea from Guild Wars 2 has been stolen by other MMOs, leaving the Guild Wars player base in a state of eternal mild saltiness at the fact that their MMO is not appreciated in the way that it should be. Luckily, though, there are jumping puzzles to ease the pain. So many jumping puzzles, which some people main the game solely just to do. It's kind of strange. Guild Wars 2 players also share a brotherhood in ESO players because both of them love Jeremy Soul's music and an appetite for exploration and completionist content. But one thing that Guild Wars players have that no other MMO type of player can appreciate is a green giant that sells canned peas. And that is badass. Number 3, Final Fantasy XIV. You are a weeb, or someone who bought into the streamer-led craze to play this game as World of Warcraft was going downhill. You didn't really want to play it, being that it looked like trash with its lollyfells and dancing cactuses, but you decided to give it a shot anyway, since everybody else was. And now, you're addicted. Your bedroom is filled with tiny anime girl figurines and jars of questionable liquid that are hiding in the closet. You've changed since giving Final Fantasy that chance. Now you can't get into any other MMO unless they have 60 hours of reading and character analysis as the game's tutorial. You can't let go of a grudge that has grown in your heart to convince every single World of Warcraft player to come and to play your game. And you unironically think that dancing cactus lore is superior to Sylvanas' character arc in Shadowlands, which you would be correct in saying. Final Fantasy is a game full of rich storytelling, characters, and adventure. A game that can move one to tears. But in your case, despite all your promises to resist, all it did was move you to play as a cat girl in a pink dress. New World. Boy, I sure do love Amazon Prime and not having a girlfriend. Guess I'll just go cut down this tree to suppress the pain of the crippling loneliness in my life. But hey, at least my plastic conquistador helmet got here thanks to Amazon Prime's one-day delivery. Thanks, Jeff Bezos. It's too big to fail. You're someone who bought into the hype of thinking that this bald-headed bastard could deliver an MMORPG that could rival all the major titans of the past. Trust me, we all fell for it. The game would be too big to fail, you told yourself over and over, even as you uninstalled it and went back to playing RuneScape to farm PKs in the Wildie. The only solace you got from this game before quitting was that it fulfilled your love of doing nothing but profession work, cutting down trees, and you got to roleplay as some conquistador invading a magic island. Isn't life wonderful when our dreams for a groundbreaking MMO are just shattered right in front of us? And for the New World people that still play the game, that still hold on to hope, it's only a matter of time, fellas. And don't worry, when you do quit, we'll welcome you back home with open arms in Lumby. Number 5, Lost Ark. Man, I wish I could play Diablo with anime titties, said every single person who wanted to play this game unironically. You were attracted to the idea of being able to play as a giant rampaging berserker or an anime girl spellcaster, complete with jiggle physics. And you were fully prepared for what to expect too with this passing phase of an MMO. You had your wallet at the ready because you unironically think that spending money on an MMO and having a standing office desk makes you cool. But seriously, like with Final Fantasy, a lot of people got into this game because it was the thing all over Twitch and YouTube for a time. Everyone was playing it, sharing their thoughts on it, their opinions on how it's the greatest MMO ever, and then it was over. In like the blink of an eye, suddenly everybody stopped playing, moving on to other MMOs and greener pastures. Some still remain who play Lost Ark, however, but they're a quiet lot, choosing to remember better days in the life of their favorite MMO, the 15 minutes of fame that Lost Ark enjoyed all too briefly. Number 6, the Lord of the Rings Online. This MMO player does not even consider himself to be an MMO gamer. Rather, he is a Lord of the Rings gamer. He doesn't care about raids, PvP, dungeons, or any of that garbage. No. Instead, all he cares about is jacking himself off while he collects water lilies with Tom Bombadil to gift a Goldberry down by the water. He's been playing this game for years, the Lord of the Rings Online player, choosing now to identify as his character in Middle-earth rather than who he is in real life. Really, the only time he even emerges from playing Lord of the Rings Online is to help with building Minecraft Middle-earth. Most likely, this player is a devout Catholic, just like Tolkien in real life, who rejects the Novus Ordo Mass in favor of the Latin Rite, but he's still terrified of the SSPX because Muskism. And he is someone who absolutely cannot stand the new Rings of Power TV series, and he is not shy to tell you about that either. Or maybe he's just a guy who likes to jam on the in-game instruments in Lord of the Rings Online, even going so far as to start bands in the game to play music around the world of Middle-earth. Yeah. Number 7, World of Warcraft. A true man's MMO, not one corrupted by furries, woke agendas, or scandals in the slightest. Every other MMO out there is for children. That is what every World of Warcraft player will scream at the top of their lungs as they inhale ludicrous amounts of copium to distract them from the fact that their game is not what it used to be. This type of player, the WoW player, is completely addicted at this point to the game. In fact, he probably doesn't even like it anymore. He hates World of Warcraft, but he plays it because he hates every other MMO more. And he'll tell you all about it in the trade chat, on the forums, and on his Facebook wall, which nobody reads. Really, all that happened to this guy was he tried some garbage like Rift or WildStar 8 years ago, and now he thinks every other MMO is hot trash, which justifies him running dailies in the mall with Sylvanas. But he's a simple soul, really. All he wants to do is raid with his friends, burn down any place called South Shore because he's a true horde at heart, and tell Final Fantasy players that they're fat in real life and will never unlock the Sharingan. He also loves the fact that South Park made an episode all about his favorite MMO, which no other MMO can boast over. So in your face, other gamers. Bitch. Number 8, Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's too big to fail. You love Star Wars. You loved Star Wars Galaxies back in the day. You wept when the servers were shut down, and now you're forced to play this Play-Doh-looking MMO to live out your Star Wars fantasies. The game had great potential in the beginning, being the most expensive MMO ever made, the most expensive video game ever made during its day, only to collapse only a few months after release. But you held on, driven to raid, PvP, and to continue the storylines that BioWare had laid out for you as a player. And then, the PvP scene died. Then raiding washed up and nobody cared anymore. And then came the role players, the last bastion of hope for Star Wars: The Old Republic that you were regrettably pulled into. One second you were raiding with one of the top guilds in the world, and now you're having a Twi'lek woman emoting that she's shoving one of her tentacles up your ass. What happened? You ask yourself each evening in your starship. Oh well, you then say. Despite the onslaught of role players and ERPers that now infest your game, at least you can take comfort in the one element of Endgame that nobody can take away from you, and that is buying more stuff for your player house, guild starship, or stronghold, because being an interior designer in space makes it all worth it. Number 9, RuneScape. They say that World of Warcraft classic players are trapped in the past, but you scoff. These players laugh at such a statement. For these MMO players, those that play RuneScape, they are truly the MMO gamer who cannot escape their childhoods. Every day is like it's 2001 all over again whenever you boot up RuneScape and find yourself in Lumbridge, getting suited up to go farm some cowhides and scam people out of their gold coins by trading fake banknotes. Killing people with rubber chickens is something you sing with pride to the outside world. The word wild fills you with genuine dread, and you think that games like Minecraft are too modern and realistic looking when it comes to your graphical tastes. RuneScape players truly are the most unique of all MMO gamers, being that they are some of the most nostalgic and chill gamers there are to meet online. But just be sure not to get killed by that one rat outside of Varrock if you're a new player, because every RuneScape player in a 10 million pixel radius will jump at the chance to take all of the items off of your corpse and then laugh at your despair. And number 10, Ashes of Creation. It's too big to fail. Every other MMO from New World to Star Wars: The Old Republic has failed at taking the reins of being the king of all MMOs, bringing a new surge of players into this genre of gaming. They're all washed up. They're dead. But now, once again, there is hope. Ashes of Creation is promising to do things that no other video game has ever done before. From player-built cities, which were in Star Wars Galaxies, by the way, to dynamic seasons and weather, like in Animal Crossing. The game is certified badass by many, leading it to be so many people's favorite MMORPG, despite the fact it isn't even out yet. These sorts of players, the Ashes of Creation hypemen, are definitely not high as hell on Copium or anything of that matter. No sir. Ashes is going to be revolutionary and groundbreaking, and if it's not, then it's over. These people who are hyped for Ashes were hyped for every other major MMO in the past. And with Wrath of the Lich King Classic on the horizon and soon to be wrapped up, Ashes is going to be their final attempt at giving an MMO a shot to addict them. And if it doesn't, they're done with MMOs for good. I myself am unironically very hyped for Ashes of Creation. We'll see what happens. But if you are one of these people, and Ashes is potentially going to be your last MMO before you move on, you're going to need a guide as to what to expect out there in the greater online gaming universe. And luckily, I've taken the liberty of doing just that with this video linked on the screen, explaining in excruciating detail all the types of gamers that you will encounter on the internet. And yes, that includes you watching this right now. I guarantee you're in one of the categories.